Jeannie, do you mind if we talk about trend setting? You were a trendsetter back in the 1960s, and you broke through the so-called calico curtain by being the first woman to wear a miniskirt on the Opry stage. What was that like?
Yeah, well, that's so funny to me because I had no intention of doing that. Remember, I had just moved to Nashville.
Sure.
And so, right a month after I came to Nashville was when Porter Wagner hired me to go on the road. So, I wasn't here that much. And I had only walked through the backstage area of the Opry one time. And I remember the Osborne brothers were on, and I wanted to stay and see them, but I couldn't. I was with Judy Myers, who actually was Porter Wagner's secretary, and June Carter.
Ah.
And we cut through the backstage of the Opry going to get something to eat. And so I was aware of how the other girls dressed, but I just thought that was their preference. I didn't really give it that much thought. And I came from California, and in Southern California, all the girls were wearing the really short mini skirts, and so that's what I was wearing, and I didn't give it one bit of thought until I was called into the manager's office about it. And I'm just looking at it, I didn't understand what he was trying to say to me at first, but anyway, I guess I finally said, well, I'll tell you what, I won't wear, if you don't let anybody in the front door wearing a miniskirt, I won't wear one through the back door. So I think they finally realized that there again, change was coming.
Well, sure.
And that's what I'm saying, with the new artists coming in today, their style of dress, their style of performing and their sound, that just happens with each decade, I think. And while I had the utmost respect for Kitty Wells, I didn't want my records to sound like hers.
No.
So, I mean, that's just how it happens.
And
but they adjusted to the new look, and I guess they forgave me for it. Still here, huh?
Well, another first-time Opry moment that you set into motion was that you became the first female artist to regularly host half-hour segments of the Opry, which was huge.
I wasn't the first one to do it ever, but I'm certainly one of the first to do it on a regular basis. And in fact, I sometimes think that is a lot of my value at the Opry now, which that's fine with me. But I truly believe that every artist deserves a good introduction.
Oh, sure.
And the audience deserves to be told something about that artist as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy doing that, and because I enjoy introducing the new acts, but I also enjoy getting to introduce some of my peers, because as I said about Jean Shepherd recently, I seldom get to introduce her. So I get to say things about Jean so that she can hear them that I would never go up and say to her.
No.
So I do have a great respect for both the new artists and my peers, and that gives me an opportunity to let them know that.
And hearing you on the Opry sing and host a portion and talk is just so magical, and I encourage anyone listening out there who hasn't already been, and even those who have been, to come down to Nashville and come to the Grand Ole Opry, because it's just so magical.
It is. There's just no way to describe the Opry until you've been there, and I'm like you. I would encourage anyone to come and experience it. I know on different occasions I have gone out front, both at the Opry House and at the Ryman, And I stand back there, and it's like, this is amazing. This is just truly amazing. And the show moves so fast.
Oh, sure.
You know, I tell people, they say, well, I was going to take somebody, but I don't know whether they'd like it. I said, well, it's not going to, if they don't like somebody, it's not going to last more than 3 minutes. It'll be on to somebody else.
Sure. 1 second, you're on the stage with Kenny Sears and Hoot Hester, and then all of a sudden Connie Smith comes on with Rick Wright, and then before you know it, all sorts of, it's just coming and going, and all these different great country music acts. And
well, I introduced this young man the other night, and I was joking. I can't think of his name now. I'm sorry, but he works with Kenny Chesney. And Kenny produced it's his first album, and Kenny co-produced it with Buddy Cannon.
Ah.
And so when I was introducing him, I said, this is his debut album, and I said, and it's too bad that he couldn't get somebody, Tim Hensley is his name, Denny just told me. I said, it's too bad that he couldn't get somebody known to produce his album, but he was stuck with Kenny Chesney. And the audience just laughed and everything, so then I introduced him, and I walked back to this, back behind the podium there, and started studying my notes for the next act, and somebody came up and put his arm around me and said, hey, how you doing tonight? You look great. And I looked up, and it was Kenny Chesney. That's the more of the magic of the Opry. And then on Tim's second song, he called Kenny and Buddy Cannon both out to sing with them. So it was a very magical moment.
And
that Opry audience went wild.
Yeah, I know when I got to take the stage with Vince Gill, it was just so magical to stand there and look out at the audience, and everyone has their face on you, and the lights are shining down, and everyone's listening, and it was just a wonderful experience. And, Jeannie, we're almost out of time here, and I really want to thank you and appreciate you being here on the show with me. You're a great lady, a true legend. And
well, I thank you for asking me, and we just appreciate having new people into our industry like you, Paul, and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. I just have one more quick question before you go.
Yes, I believe in Santa Claus.
That's a good one, but that wasn't what I was going to ask.
Okay.
I was going to ask, did you ever frequent the honky-tonks downtown near the old Ryman Auditorium on Broadway?
Every now and then, when we're down there for the winter, I'll go back and get my nostalgia fix by walking through Tootsie's. And, of course, I always go over and have a Jack's barbecue at least once while we're doing the run down there, and go by Legends Corner for a little bit. And I can't do it very, very much because of the crowds and the cigarette smoke.
Oh, sure. So smoky. But the reason I ask this is because in Bill Anderson's book, I Hope You're Living as High on the Hog as the Pig You Turned Out to Be, he mentions that one time you and Hank were downtown and partying or whatnot, I think was the word he used. And so at the end of the night, I guess you guys weren't able to drive back home.
It was during the daytime.
Oh, it was during the day?
Yes. And so we got the tour bus home.
And then you got off at your house, right?
Yeah.
I can only imagine the looks on everyone's face when you got off, huh?
I can't either. I didn't see it.
Oh, well, Jeannie, once again, I really thank you for being here. You're one of my favorite singers, a great lady, and I'm so glad we were able to do this, because it's a thrill for me every time I get to talk with you.
Well, thank you, Paul. We'll see you again soon, okay?